Okay, this is a meeting of the Whately Board of Assessors on January 21st, 2025. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes from last meeting. You have that?
Do you have that by any chance?
Well, I don't know if it's in here.
Would be printed.
No.
You have last week's agenda by any chance? Approval of meetings.
Well, we can act on it.
We can get that. Yeah, we can get that later. Where's this?
Okay. Next item.
Did you want to jump right to the Hero Act?
No.
With the member from the public here.
No.
Okay.
Not really. Okay. We have a member of the public here that come to our meeting. Any member of the public is welcome to come to our meeting. Participate in in our agenda, ask questions, whatever about their property if they want. I think we'll get to that item next here rather than going through our agenda, because it may take a while to go through the rest of it. So would you please state your name and address?
It's a while, 29 Christian Lane, and I'm here in support of the Hero Act, and I've asked that you approve it to send it to the select board. This is something very.
Okay.
If you want to explain it, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't explain it.
Fred can, and I can do a little bit, but
So, well, go ahead.
it's basically a tax exemptions for veterans, widows, blind, some with limited income. Am I pretty much on that, Fred?
Yes.
Isn't the Hero Act specifically the veterans?
I think they pertain to disabled as well, not only veterans, but people that are disabled.
Okay, that's not
No,
my memory, and what I remember is that what we wanted to do was find out what the allowances were for all those other categories you named.
right, and I don't know if Stephen has done anything. I shared with him the list that we've had a year ago, where we presented that to the tax classification hearing back in 2023, not
Yes.
24, 23, because we had a tally of how many were in each category for that exemption. That did include veterans, handicapped, and other, I guess, disabled, if you want to call it, individuals in town. But yeah, looking at the Hero Act, I think it says on the first page, recognizing our service members and veterans. So, but some of them are included on this other list of exemptions that we had for property tax.
But when you,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yes.
what I'm seeing here, it says it's the most comprehensive and expands the legislative package dedicated to the welfare of veterans in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
And what are they? I'm sorry to have to say this because I didn't see that memo that got off to Stephen, but we spoke earlier, Stephen. They're asking for 1,000% or 100%. Explain to me what the new request is.
Yeah, so the Hero Act will enable towns to grant up to an additional $1,000 for the veteran exemption.
Okay.
But this is the one with the car, right?
This is separate.
Okay,
Yes,
This is in regards to state property.
right. Yes. Is that what you thought, or
um,
In regards to the car,
I don't know what they were calling it.
I don't know about the car?
Yeah, the one for the car, the one I'm talking
Yes.
to support, which is the new one that just came out, is the one that allows veterans to do one car and not have to pay their excise tax.
Oh,
And the car has to be in the, I guess, talking to the person that was working with Steve this morning. It has to be a veteran's name.
That piece wasn't on the email that Stephen, you sent us to review. Ma'am, what we were given a copy of legislation and I think at least but I think all of us in general support it. The only question we had was just keeping it in relation to other tax exemptions or reductions. So we wanted to look at it in the context of all of them, not just this piece. And that's actually a new piece you're bringing up, which is great to
Yes.
know about.
It is a very,
Hmm.
or you, I forgot, because we got notified.
Well, this is something that Stephen just shared. It talks about vehicle
Oh, there you
excise
go.
tax.
I have it at home.
No,
I have the legislation at home,
Mhm.
but that doesn't help here.
Oh, but it might.
I didn't bring what Stephen sent us. The
Yeah,
last
I'm not
one, so-
finding it quickly either. But anyway, I think we do want to, I personally still want to look at it in context, but we wouldn't have known about this car piece without being told here. So that's really helpful.
That's
So
S1. You know what? What did your memo from Peter say? Did it address GLC 60A S1?
And I support you, doing what you need, your due diligence. I really support that.
Oh, thank you so much. We certainly want to do the right thing.
So really, this is just adding to just for the motor vehicle exemption.
This is for the motor vehicle. The one I was supporting, the
Right.
new one was
Right.
for the motor vehicle. The other one was in place for a long
Yeah,
time.
right,
For the real estate tax.
right. And we still use that. People still apply, so it's.
Yeah, I did apply for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that Bulletin 2024-5?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Yes, that was the one sent over from Peter. In his words, Stephen, I was curious if the Board of Assessors reviewed the DOS bulletin from this summer attached regarding the Hero Act and ability for town cities to choose to add 2 additional tax exemptions for veterans. These new exemptions are not automatic, but require a town meeting vote to be approved. But it would be good to hear the Board of Assessors would recommend adoption, potential impact this may have.
So the adoption of everything in this
That's
in this bulletin, everything in here. Oh, I wish I saw this earlier.
I think the
Yeah,
best
I
thing,
just shared that.
Yes.
I can recommend that you talk to the person at VA or the young person, the woman that was here today.
Mhm.
She knew all about this new law
Mhm.
and the paperwork, and that it had to go through you to get approval
Mhm.
for you to send it to the select board.
We've been recommended to review it and make a recommendation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't see why we wouldn't, but I'm just sorry that we're not as prepared as we should have been, because we're just looking at this.
You know, It's a law, it's Massachusetts, it's okay.
Yes,
But the select board, what did the select board do? They had it on their agenda last week.
they asked for us to look into it.
Oh, they did. They didn't act on it.
No, I was there and they said,
Okay.
would you look into this? And I thought they said, well, I took notes and I left the notes at home. But I'm pretty sure they're referencing this. And I don't see why we wouldn't. I just, again, wish we had
Okay.
more time to evaluate it.
Well,
Go ahead.
the car, when you say look into this, which part do you mean? The car part, or I thought there was another part?
There's 8 paragraphs here regarding the HERO Act. 8 separate paragraphs. And again, I couldn't imagine we wouldn't agree with this or not recommend this. I'm just wishing we had. I wish I didn't get this tonight. I wish I had had it earlier. That's all.
Okay, well, I mean, is there a timeline on it?
It's a good question. When's the next board meeting? When's the next board meeting? Select board.
Next week.
So we need to have an answer for them next week because that's when they would.
If they don't need it till town meeting, I mean, we've got several weeks yet. They're not going to be voted on until town meeting, right? So
I'm not sure what I was only reading was the card about that we got from Veterans Affairs.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it did say, or I think it was down to that far
Understood.
to see that it was.
Yes.
What Stephen sent us before, what I remember about it was that it had sort of a range of what you could exempt up to whatever amount. And that's why I wanted to look at the other categories.
Understood.
So that's just what I feel we still need to do, but I'm totally in support of doing some amount.
Well, if Fred just said that when's the town meeting on this, and then the next select board meeting is coming up, right? So
well, they have them twice a month, right?
Right. So certainly we could review this and make a recommendation to the select board. And then
I think it's going to be on their agenda.
It's going to be. They've asked us to make a recommendation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
okay,
and I'm fine with doing. Things move slowly.
Unfortunately, they do.
Spoken like somebody who was a veteran.
No, spoken like somebody that was a town employee, served on boards.
Oh,
And just realize how sometimes things take longer and you just have to be patient.
yes. Well, we certainly appreciate that. And it is an issue we're going to certainly look at. And like Jenny said, I couldn't imagine we would disagree with this, but we do like to at least make sure we review anything before we submit it.
That's a novel approach. You actually no.
That's new. We're new to this.
the part that's confusing, and I guess we asked at our last meeting for Stephen to come up with how many people are getting these other exemptions, including the veterans one, because this one applies on top of that exemption as a certain percentage or additional dollar amount. It's not a provision that I read that stands by itself.
Well, what I got was something that stood by itself. I didn't get that.
Yeah,
The whole thing. Right?
Okay, and as far as when this goes into effect, it says here that the governor signed it in August of 24, and it's effective for calendar year 24. So any excise, if it applies to your excise tax for vehicle that you paid in 24, well, then I guess then it would apply to that and would be entitled to a rebate for that excise tax.
Right.
Paid for 24.
Yes.
It says that in here, no matter when I guess it is approved by the town. Now I don't know if there's an option to the town not to approve it or not, when that happens, I don't know.
This
So-
lists the different exemptions,
Oh.
the amount of recipients, and then the dollar figure.
Oh, perfect.
Can you repeat what you just said, Stephen?
Go ahead, Steve. Got you repeat
Yes,
it, yeah.
I just handed Mike a sheet that
Yeah,
listed
sure.
the different exemptions that we have in town, the amount of
Veterans, yeah.
recipients, and the dollar amount.
Okay,
You can see this applies to clause 22I and 22I and J.
Yes, that
We
rings a
don't-
bell now. Those are the two clauses that I was asked to look into at the last select board meeting, which I attended as just a general member of the public.
But this says we don't have any I and J.
Clearly, we have to look in. We have to look.
Yeah.
But I think also
Okay.
that the website with all exemptions we can apply for.
Yes,
It's hopefully will bring more people. The ones that are entitled. to
Sure.
them To take advantage of.
oh, absolutely. We would of course be all for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Because you see, I think
So-
if you look at that paperwork, I already applied for the exemption for the, car.
And you didn't get it, did you?
No, I paid it and I'll get a rebate.
Gotcha. Oh, you will. Okay, good.
And then I'm applying for the exemption for my real estate tax, but not for the $400.
Yeah.
For the $1,000 one,
Right.
because, my husband gets 90%.
Right.
But he's considered 100% disabled
Okay.
because of unemployability.
Yes.
Right.
And
okay,
it
yes,
says that.
Right.
And whoever was here this morning, where Stephen said, from 4 to 99%, $400 for
Right.
real estate.
Right.
But once you go to 100, it's $1,000. And what you have to do is apply every year, bring that letter in and apply every year. But 4 to 99%, don't have to bring that letter in every year. And that was something different.
you've been applying every year for the other one for $1,000.
Yes,
Right.
but I got $400. I think I got $300. I think.
Mhm.
It was very confusing
Yeah,
to me, and
right.
that's why I came. to
sounds it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look into that, Stephen, and see if this applies.
Jenny, did you want to say something?
No, just saying it sounds confusing.
Yeah,
But yeah, the
No,
range
she
is,
made it very simple. That was the whole thing.
That's
It-
good.
It was made very simple. Need to do this and this, that's period.
okay,
Now I'll let you get on with your meeting, and thank you
Okay.
very much for letting me give you my 2 cents.
Oh,
worth.
absolutely.
it's fine.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to bring up? No, okay, okay,
I'm fine.
okay.
I'm
Lisa.
just a proud veteran's wife to make sure
Yes,
So that's
right,
great. That's good to
That's
hear.
Vietnam was a long
Was it?
time.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly thank him for his service.
okay. Okay, we got, more
Got,
forms here.
so we got motor
Okay,
vehicle
so
here.
see, here's scale 25 motor vehicle. So this is a veterans.
You got a lot of them.
Oh, 6A.
Again, I thought Stephen could sign these. Didn't we make
Well,
that?
no, this is different. This is for veterans
Oh, veterans. Okay.
exemptions.
Very good. Very good.
So, okay.
I'll take this. He went 121.
Yeah, see, this is the one she was saying for she gets $1,000.
Oh, there you go. So it's already,
Category of disabled, I guess you call
So
it,
it's-
veteran.
so it's already law.
No, that's different.
Oh,
This is real estate.
real estate, sorry. Funny, I've been gone from this town for 32 years and I recognize these names still. Yeah.
Mhm.
Probably smart staying home, Jenny. It's really cold out there.
If you add up all these that we're signing for the veterans, it's probably similar to what that other list I showed you for 23, right? I don't know if you totaled all of these or not.
I'm not total this
Yeah.
yet.
But I bet it's similar.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of me there, friend. Last one. You've got one, I'm sorry.
There's
Dude, wow, all these names.
senior, I guess it's over 870.
Who, can I ask who fills out these forms? Is it the actual,
Applicant.
yeah, that's right, yeah. Makes sense.
So here's a different one. And who's eligible? This person goes under senior age 70. This guy's actually up.
Is he really?
Yeah. So
Does he live up on, yes, I know this guy, Walter. It's like 103.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Amazing. You go by his house, you see him out there with a shovel digging a hole, working his butt off. Wow.
yeah, this was the other real estate one listed.
103. Man.
This is one, yeah, okay. And here was the motor vehicle ones that we agreed to have Stephen sign individual ones. There's 48 of them here, so rather than us signing 48,
Yes.
we have to sign
Just
the
one.
cover. Yeah, the cover.
That's and I don't. Is there a reason I need to review all these? No.
No, I just looked quickly what they were, and I just they all have to be over $5, otherwise it's not worth the processing fee, I guess, to do it. So.
So this is the whole stack. This goes to Stephen? Yeah.
Well, this
Shoveling.
and what is this big one? All the vehicle excise taxes.
Yes, that is the large commitment for FY25. Sorry, calendar year
Okay,
Which I always get confused about this, which is July of 24 to June of 25.
That would be fiscal year 24. Excise motor vehicle is based on
Actual. So that's all of 25. Okay, 1/1 to 12/31. That's a bunch of.
you want to sign each one?
No, I don't.
No. Okay.
I don't.
all the vehicles that were garage registered in Whately as of January.
And all of these are, they get a bill, they send in the money, you throw it in the computer, it spits out this report.
That report is issued, so we get the garaging information from the state, and then that specific commitment comes from our deputy collector.
The deputy collector?
Yes.
You'll have to unfortunately inform me, what is that?
So the deputy collector is, really they're hired by the treasurer collector to assist in like the collection of real estate, well, all local receipts
Okay,
and property tax.
so, okay, I'm just curious how it was computed. It's not, it's computer generated.
It is computer generated.
It's not hand generated in any way other than,
Okay,
it's not hand generated here. Yeah, so, okay.
and how do we know? Some of these give a South Deerfield address and some give a Whately address.
I know you're South Deerfield address, aren't you?
Yes,
As am I. You're Whately, correct? Jenny?
and so.
We lost her.
Yeah, no, I'm here, sorry.
That's,
I believe so. My PO box is town center.
Because, well, it's too much to get into. I just
Yeah.
know I'm South Deerfield right now until they change things.
Yeah,
If they change it.
I just have to flip it. You know, these people live next to you. Look at, they're listed as a Whately, and these other two.
This
South
is South
Deerfield.
Deerfield
I mean, that's kind of one of the arguments
that we're having. Well,
that we had on the zip code issue.
it is, but it's not our, it's
No,
not, it's not our argument, right?
And I'm just curious, how whoever puts this together know that these other ones
Because they won't
South
deliver.
Deerfield are in Whately though.
Oh, wait.
The Whately address.
65 State Road. You said they're my neighbor?
I'm
sorry.
I doubt whoever puts them together does know. I think Amy just coordinates with the residents and the other towns, mostly just to make sure that somebody doesn't pay in two towns.
Okay.
I guess we can be assured that this is the vehicles in town.
Yeah,
Yes.
We don't have to check with
No.
each one.
you want to sign this one?
No, if somebody gets billed from
Yeah.
two towns, they come in.
Okay,
Well, it's one
And
town that's.
Amy has figured it out.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me.
Okay,
Um, Wow, I'm glad that would be some signing.
I mean, hopefully, if all of town becomes one zip code, that issue
Will be
will
resolved.
go away sometime.
I hope you're right.
It's actually one of the ideas to do with the center school. One of the ideas for the center school is to make it a post office that's big enough for everybody. Or part of it.
okay, next item is, fiscal year 26 property taxes that went out end of December. And at our last meeting, we were asking how these values were calculated, because there were some differences that we didn't understand. RRG, I guess, was trying to explain what happened, but we never got, I guess, an explanation that we could understand, and asked for more information on some of these properties. Some of the tables they handed out at the last meeting. So we asked for more information on current year versus prior year assessments and taxes on the 20 properties that they did their analysis on.
Right.
Is that, I haven't received that. Has that been done, Stephen?
So regarding property values, there are two documents in that stack. One has land rates and the other one the tables for the buildings.
Land rates that were adjusted and buildings that were adjusted.
Yes. I think that's the factors, not necessarily specific properties.
Are these something new since we met with David, or are they the same documents we were given at the last meeting?
I don't think they're the same ones, no.
This is from the Patriot. I thought, Fred, you said that RRG was going to give us some.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
asked David for.
Yeah.
And
That's not it, is it?
Well, it says calculation table, building pricing table. Now it goes through types of buildings, mentions.
Oh, I asked for that from RRG. Remember I asked for that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was something I asked for because I'm kind of off subject, so I won't go there. Let's stay with this. But
Okay, that's for building calculations.
Right.
That's not how we come up with the different values.
let's not spend time on something when we asked for specific information if we haven't gotten it.
I agree.
Okay, the other one here was land price data, which we kind of asked for how they come up with the various, I guess they're looking at land factors here.
Well, we should recall what we asked for and ask him again. I know one of those requests, it had to do with the different, I'd have to look at my papers to remember the terms for it. But the different neighborhoods. Which
Oh yeah, economic locations. Is that what you meant?
Yes, I'm not sure that's exactly the term he used, but yes.
Can I just back up? Is this from RRG?
Yes.
So RRG won't reach the Patriot card, the Patriot system, to give us. Okay, so this is from RRG, and this is their response to us.
I don't understand that. That's not what we asked for.
The second thing we asked for was how would land values ever go down?
Yes, we did. I remember that specific request.
We wanted scenarios on that.
Right.
That was our specific request, although this is good
Okay.
data.
Economic neighborhoods is David's term.
Okay,
how land values go down and how, and the other thing on land values, how did they adjust land values from last year? And it seems there's many of them that increases, and there's,
some that
we have land values for, well, they use economic areas, I won't use economic areas, it's geographic areas of the town. We have 4 to 5 geographic areas, and each one has traditionally used a land value. You can't compare one land value to another area because the areas are unique by themselves. They're different amenities for each land value.
Yeah, I
each land
can't remember
have.
now. Did he make each area the same for land
Well,
value?
that was one of a good example. There's properties on Christian Lane that have the same land value as all the ones in Pine Plains Estates. Does that make sense? The land values on Christian Lane the same?
um,
I don't think so, and
I
that's
think
what they
the
did.
whole town, I think he did it as the whole town the same though, wasn't it?
Well, it could be. I don't know. We don't know
So
that.
that was part of what we asked. So
Yes, that's part of
let's
what
just,
we asked.
let's just clarify again what we want him to explain and send him a reminder that we're looking for that and keep this on the agenda for when we get it.
Okay, well. Okay, and yeah, that's one of the things we asked for that we didn't get.
but
The other-
before we go any further, no matter what their answer is, we're not going backwards. We're just trying to get this data as we move forward, and we're aware of what we need to ask. I guess what I'm saying is, in my mind, there's a lot of data here. Should we spend some time, not tonight, figure out exactly what this data means, or exactly what we need, or we just go back and say, how'd you come up with different land values? Is there? It just seems to be a lot of data here, and I'm not sure we all understand it.
Okay,
I'm sure we don't all understand it. But-
Stephen, I asked you last week when we talked to this, I asked that we get an explanation how these land values were arrived at and how properties were adjusted for fiscal year 26. And I specifically said, we want to see the data that was used to come up with % changes that you made here. We don't want a general statement saying all land was increased 8%. Based on what? What was your basis for that? That's what I've asked for. And so far, we haven't got that. To me, well, tax bills went out. These are the values that went out.
Right.
But we need to make a determination do these values need to be adjusted?
Yeah, so
There is still time. They won't affect the tax bills that went out,
Right.
but future property values
Correct.
can be affected.
right, yeah,
We can
so
change that today for the next tax billing. So
Mike,
it's not like these are not set in concrete, and that's what we're going by. Because I don't accept all these values that have been done so far.
right, so can we be specific? And you know, Stephen's the messenger here, but in this case, we spoke directly to David
Right,
and including giving him a deadline, telling him when our next meeting was and asking him for it before our meeting.
right.
And probably we should have reminded him, but in any case, we don't have it. So I think
Yeah.
we need to be clear what we're asking for
Yes.
and
And
get
here,
those answers and have a meeting reviewing, Mike, like you're talking about. But I think we are keeping the door open to
yes,
changing values based on the answers we're given. We're not just saying,
Even if those values increase taxes, because they might.
yeah, well,
the whole
we'll
point
consider that.
is to have a system that makes sense.
I'm with you
And-
there.
Right, and so is Fred, and Fred is saying it doesn't make sense to me. So we
Right,
need the
okay.
information, and then we decide what to do.
I'm with you 100%. But if we go back and we determine that, you know what? They determine that, you know what? We goofed on land values. And now we got to go out to town and say, there's a goof. You're all getting higher taxes. I'm not sure how well that's going to go over.
Well,
You know, it never goes over well, but
we don't know that yet.
we don't, yeah,
Be
we don't
careful
know
what
if
you
that's
wish
where
for,
we
is what I'm
are.
saying. Be
Yeah,
careful what you wish
Yeah,
for.
but I thought, when we met last with David there, he said they would send something before our next meeting. I remember him saying
I do
that.
remember
Now,
that.
I don't-
Right.
What does he send, Stephen?
Right,
Did he
so,
send anything?
Fred,
Was that this
let's-
table?
He's got the land value table.
Okay, so let's
But there's
be
no
clear,
reason.
though. The document we were given last time, it's not, I can't, I'm not clear on whether all the land values are the same across all the economic neighborhoods or not. So that is a yes or no question,
Yeah,
Correct.
right.
okay? Second, Fred, you kept saying 4 or 5
There's only 3 on here.
areas, and it looked like David had 4.
Well, he doesn't have Village Center and he
Or
doesn't have
Pine
Pine
Plains Estates.
Plains Estates.
Okay,
The other
so
two.
we need David's system of division to match what we think the divisions should be. So
Right.
we need to make a decision about how many economic areas there are.
I agree with that.
Right.
I mean, where is it written? Is it already written as 5?
No, it's
Just understood.
historic, I guess.
Okay,
Historic,
okay.
the way we've
Okay,
been doing
so
things.
David,
Right.
if David made a change historic from
Yes,
the
he-
historic
he needed to know why.
practice,
Yeah.
we need to know why.
Yes.
Yes.
And
And-
then the third question that I'm sure about, but there may be others I'm not sure about, is how in his system is it ever possible for land values to go down? Because that didn't make sense to any of us, and that was something he stated as a possibility.
Right.
I kind of have an idea, but I'm not going to go into it tonight, as to why land values went down. I'm with you all the way on what you just requested, Jenny. Keep in mind on this list of sales, there's some non-arm's length sales. If you start pulling those out, that's going to affect taxes too. Do we have enough data there so it averages out? I don't know. But
I
to
don't
Fred's
know.
point,
So are
it's-
there other questions for him that we need to specify?
Well,
yes, but going back to, yes, how did you come up with your land values? Are there still 5 economic locations?
Well,
But if
Yeah.
I just
the
fear
number
that,
of them and why are they different
Right.
from, I mean, he may have just looked at it and decided he may not have known the history. We don't know.
the real
Yeah.
question is, where did he get all this data?
Yeah.
Did he get it from our records? Do we need to update our records? Did he use MLS? Did he go to the actual courthouse and get the deeds? I guess that's a good question. Where is this data generated from? Because I can go to MLS and get all this same stuff. Plus, Stephen did a list for us that was bigger on sales than this list, right?
a little bigger, yeah.
It was
Yes,
bigger
it
than
was
this
more
list.
than this,
I'm
yeah.
not sure which one.
I'm going to go on record that say that RRG knows what they're doing. Greenfield is ecstatic with RRG. Other towns has used them. They probably know what they're doing. They probably know how they're doing it. We're just confused as to how they arrived at these numbers, and we are due an explanation.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that it's not a bad system, and other towns are using them, and Greenfield just loves RRG right now.
Well, okay, not only the land values, but also the building values, how they
Yes.
come up with, because they range anywhere from what, 4 to 20%?
Well, Fred, building values
So-
I mean, assessors don't create value. People create value
Yeah.
through their transactions in the marketplace, be that sales or a new house or a renovation.
Okay, but these were also applied to other similar properties in town that didn't have a sale.
Well, you
I
know,
could
How
see
do you
that
know
happening.
that?
no, that it's too small a town to say, let's take sales from Pine Plains and let's take sales from East Whately. It's only 576 homes in this town.
Well-
You can't break it down that little. It
Yeah,
it
but
won't
there
make
was,
sense.
that was on the LA forums. There's like, what,
Yes.
20 or 30 properties that
Yes,
at arm's length sales, they come up with a 4 or 5%
a 5.8, I think.
rate sale increase,
Yes,
price increase.
yes.
Yeah.
So that, and when I sat with a taxpayer and we went through this whole thing for about an hour and a half, I did it because I knew I'd have to do it sooner or later. At the end of the day, their sales went up about 5.5%. Their taxes went up about 5.5%. Their building value went up. And that makes perfect sense to me. The marketplace does this. Is it fair? Well, that's another question. When sales go up, and this couple said to me, I'm on a fixed income, to your point, Jenny, and we're gonna price them out of the market, but where they can't afford it. Their house went from 400 to 600. Well, their wealth just went up 200,000 too. So it's just too hard to equitably just say, well, okay, you're having a problem affording it, and you're not. I don't know how if you have a solution for me on that one, I'd love to hear it. But either way, they went up 200,000 in wealth based on the past sales in the area, and it's our job to capture that increase through taxation. That's our job.
Yeah, I have no problem saying that based on sales, but if sales are to, 5%, why did some of these go up 10%? My property went up 10%, building value. I didn't sell.
Well,
I'm just saying, why did mine go up 10% when the average of 20 properties that sold in town was only 5%? How do you
account for
how
that?
do you account for that? Where did it get the 10% from?
I don't have a good answer for you.
And I guess I can't blindly accept, well, that's what data shows. Well, show us the data.
So that we can understand
So
it.
we
The
can
data's here,
understand
we
it.
don't understand it.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line.
yeah.
Do any of you have a problem if I call RRG and ask some questions?
Well, they need to put their answers in writing.
Understood, but do any of you have a problem if I call?
No, I think that's great, but
Okay.
that's
Understood.
that's what we need. You know, every time Fred identifies a specific line that doesn't make sense to him or specific comparison that doesn't make sense to him, that, you know, his town knowledge and historic knowledge is what's leading him to be able to do that.
Yes. Well, if Fred were to be a taxpayer and stand in front of us and say, I want an abatement, and he would point to one other house, well, we'd probably point to more than one other house and more than one other sale, but we're still stuck with, what do we tell a taxpayer when they want an abatement?
Right.
We don't have, and I don't want to, I'm new, I don't want to say anything other than, we should have those answers. We should
Right.
be able to sit down with that taxpayer. And that's what
Right.
I've actually tried to do. I actually pulled a permit with Stephen on the house next to me. I also went through the sales. I also asked Stephen for a calculation worksheet so I can say, okay, this is a ranch, this is a tutor, this is whatever. And what I'm looking for now is what is excellent, medium, or not good. Once I have all that, I can sit down with them and I can say, this is how we came to your original taxes. And this next year, this happened. Of course, there's a history online, but this is where we are now. And inevitably, the answer is because of sales. But let me say that tax data in every municipality around the country is notoriously incorrect, notoriously faulty. I know that as a realtor, I've been through it 1,000 times. So just getting proper data from the builder on what the square footage is. I've already found out that the square footage on this house is 200 below on the permit what the actual square footage is. I guarantee we dive into that, we're going to find more issues than you can. Well, it's not always accurate. So I guess I'm on the page.
But that's the most solvable problem.
It is.
I mean, if something is wrong because it's based on inaccurate data, that's an easy fix.
It's an easy fix, and we should look into that, but not now.
Right.
Let's stay with what we've, I think, agreed with is what we want from RRG regarding economic locations and land values and building increases, and why some people got a 10% increase and some people like me got a $200 reduction. So I think that's a I'm gonna get my act together best I can with regards to this data, so I'm prepared. I'm gonna call RRG.
I think the point though, Mike, is, it has to make sense without understanding all the data. Like the differences in property values should be based on fairly simple concepts. Like,
I think it's complex in my mind, but I hear what you're
well,
saying.
I'm not sure. The formulas are complex. The rating system is complex, but the concepts actually shouldn't be. If
I
we
would agree.
say this area of town is considered more valuable than that area of town, or the land is,
Right.
and then as you tried to ask last time, a ranch is a ranch is a ranch. So is the
Right.
value of the house the
Right.
same, regardless of what land
Should be.
it's sitting on?
Should be.
Those are simple concepts.
Right.
Yes,
And
they are.
then, here, this house is, okay, now we don't have a ranch compared to a ranch.
Right.
Now we have a ranch compared to whatever, colonial, and those are valued differently. Like we should be able to say to somebody, your tax bill is higher than your neighbor's because
Mhm.
while your land value is the same, the construction of your house is of better quality, and
Better
you've
kitchen,
got
Higher
better stuff.
ceilings, yes, agreed,
X number more square
agreed,
feet.
agreed,
Right.
agreed.
So, while it's great that you want to understand the data,
Yes,
I don't think we should be thinking only in terms of understanding the complexities. I think what we're trying to do is make sure that the simple concepts line up.
I'm 100% agree with you. I've reviewed thousands of actual certified appraisal reports. To your point,
Mhm.
you take your house, and we want to figure out its value for tax purposes. We've had sales. We'd like to find sales that are similar to your house for tax purposes, and that's very difficult. So if we find 3, it's perfect, but we don't, we're going to find one that has a little more squares, and we're going to reduce the value by those squares. We're never going to reduce or add to your house value, and we're going to keep tweaking the subject prop, obviously the
Yeah.
comps, until we have come down. One has a pool, one does. Then we'll tweak it until we get to what we think are comps, comparable.
Right.
And that's really hard to do where everything's so different.
Yeah.
Up here, it's very difficult.
I think it's a great idea for you to call RRG
Okay,
and follow up with David and say, hey, we between us all, we lost track of getting the answers to these questions, but we still need them.
Before you agree to that, I guess I would still like the RNG come to the board to tell us that. I don't want to necessarily hear it secondhand.
I don't want to hear it secondhand either. I want him to put it in writing.
I'm okay. I'm probably going to call for my benefit. I agree with Fred. Let's get them back.
They're working for us, and they should be doing stuff that we want, and we want some explanations here. That's the bottom line.
I know, but what happens is the explanations start to get confusing.
They do.
If you want to put
I think we should ask some very specific questions and get answers to those specific questions in writing. I don't think that's mutually exclusive with having them come back.
Okay. And
okay, so yeah, you can do that if you
I'll
want.
just call for my own good. I'm convinced that they didn't just randomly grab this stuff. I'm convinced that they may have pulled from data. We have local knowledge of that data. Fred does. And their way in Leominster, they don't know that the difference between Village Center and East Whately, Whately. They're
Yes.
just looking at the data from
Yeah,
those different
right.
areas. And there's local knowledge that Fred has that would affect that. We need to just get on the same page with RRG so that they're pulling the data we think is accurate. And
Yeah.
that might mean doing some tax card classifications or tweaking in our system. We want RRG to get exactly what is accurate in this town. And we want to know where this data is coming from. I bet it's MLS, I bet it's the deeds, but why did you exclude some? I mean, that's really an appraiser's point of view, why you excluded something versus left it in or took it out.
Yeah.
Okay, and so kind of related to this, so, well, before we do that, okay, so you're gonna, Mike, you're gonna
I'm gonna give a call.
give RG a call, and I guess you could tell them what questions we have and see what answers they give you.
And I also request that we would like to see them
Yeah.
again.
We would like to see them again to explain that with data that shows where you got these values, not just an explanation.
So
We
the
wanna
questions
see
are
the support.
economic locations, land values being reduced, building values going up. That's your
Right.
specific questions.
Right,
Okay. And then we'd like to see.
Well, and the part of the economic neighborhoods piece is there's two parts to that. One is what are the geographic areas
yeah.
that he calculated, because they don't match the historic ones. And
Yes.
how did he generate those? I
Well,
mean,
do we have a map
maybe he's
that
got a
shows
good point. We should be switching, but we need to discuss that.
Yes.
And second, are the land values in each of those neighborhoods different or not?
And I mean, who came up with East Whately, West Whately, and Village Center? I mean, is there a map that shows that?
I haven't seen it,
I mean, Pine Plains Estates is pretty obvious, but
yeah,
the Village Center does go all the way down almost to South Deerfield or stop at North Street. I mean, you know,
I don't know if there was a map. I don't know if I've ever seen one. We just assumed it was reasonable where it was
well, we
explained.
need that too.
Because I don't think Village Center goes all the way to Hatfield line.
Right.
I think maybe the Claverick Road, well, I don't know, it could go beyond that now. I don't know.
Well, we need that then. I would
Right.
think.
Well, in his
I don't know.
neighborhood section, he's got 3 neighborhoods,
Yes.
and then it goes by sale price.
Yes.
Well, yeah, so 3.
I mean, we can try generate our own map if we want, identify these areas. You'd
You
have to
probably
look.
should.
You could look online on the webpage that has the Patriot software, Patriot data for each property, and look at Chestnut Plain. Well, does properties south of Straits Road, I mean south of Claverick, there
Is
should
that
be a
considered?
code,
Yeah.
DC or
Yeah.
West Whately maybe. We could go by the codes already on there to see where the areas are. I mean, say like for Village Center, where's Village Center? Which properties just have Village Center on there?
Okay, that makes sense.
You could do that based on what's in the Patriots software.
So the Patriot software has a definition of East Whately, West Whately. At least it's coded that way, and we could go look at the
Well,
code.
right, for the land, under land values, the front page has,
Economic
it
location.
has the area identified plus a value that they start with
Where?
at the bottom. Okay, this is East Whately.
East Whately. That's interesting. It's Pine Plains Estates.
Okay, but it's neighborhood description or something in here.
Does that say Pine right there?
Prime.
Prime. So there you go.
But you see that starts at the 98. There should be
So wait, again,
150. It's special. The 115 is that 1 acre lots.
of course.
I don't know.
So there you go. There's a perfect example. Pine Plains Estates is an economic location too, as far as I was concerned, and I've got a Pine Plains Estates taxpayer here, and it shows East Whately. So not to prolong this any longer, I think we're on the same page.
Because it's neighborhood influence, it gives it something.
It gives it something. So we can go to the tax code and see it's Pine Plains
Yeah,
Estates.
Right,
But a map, I mean, okay, we gotta look into economic location. Who came up with these? Or is this a commonly
they
accepted
must have
thing?
looked at these designations.
They must have looked at there and then quoted.
Well, they took the sales and it took that information.
And this is what I'm trying to suggest.
So,
We need to know
yeah,
this a little better before we just randomly go off. I'm not gonna go back and reiterate anything. I'm glad we've come up with what we've come up with.
yeah,
But there's more here to be seen. And again, I'm gonna go on record as saying, our RG did not randomly come up with this stuff. They had some sort of data, some sort of market
Right.
value, some sort of economic,
yeah.
you know, the market's up, the market's down. They have their numbers and they don't do it on 2 or 3 homes.
Right, yeah, that's what we need to see. The rest of the stuff is from the Patriot software
Okay.
for individual properties, but how did they adjust that?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Are we, not to, are you good with that, Jenny?
Yes.
okay,
Okay.
and the other thing I asked for is that on this first table here, there were 20 properties, the values of last year, before they made adjustments, they have current prices, current total and sale price. I asked for what last year's value, either land or building or total. I guess
They
I
should
could
be able to
go, I
produce
could
that.
go through myself, but I'm not gonna do that.
So
Okay.
you're talking about an additional
Request,
column.
yes.
Yeah, additional column, yeah.
Yeah. Stephen, you can do that, right?
So you want, which one is, yes, I can do that.
It's just adding the prior year value.
Right
Sure.
here for land value.
Land and building, it's 2 columns, probably.
Yeah,
Okay, I can do that.
And I'll say it one more time, when it's all said and done, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a good reason for why they sent us this data.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
along the same lines, before we leave this and it gets into another item, but have all this data for fiscal year 26 been entered in the Patriot software for people to access online?
I think that's a Stephen question.
Yeah, so the cards themselves that roll over and access online will be done tomorrow afternoon. In regards to the values, owner information, sale date, all of that, that is on the website.
Oh, that's already on the new values are on the website.
Correct.
The new values for all these properties are on the website.
Well,
For all the properties in town.
all the properties in town, right? Well, and these include, sure. I looked quickly, I
They
ran
weren't
late.
today.
They weren't?
Well, yesterday, I looked
Yeah.
yesterday.
I don't quote me, Fred. I thought mine was updated, but, and again, that update happens computer generated. You don't manually do all this.
We may be talking about 2 different processes, so
Okay.
let me just.
Let's, I guess,
Oh, okay, so it is online is a link to the values for FY 25. It's titled owner listing. And it gives a report similar to the one that is at the front of that desk. It lists the parcel ID, the owner information,
yeah.
location.
is that a
Yeah,
CAI card?
Things code.
It's
No,
a
this isn't the property record.
Okay.
Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm
Well,
just wondering what
the-
that link is. That link's gonna be able, they'll be able to pull up this?
No, that link brings it all the property records. It gives the
there you go.
stats. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
sure
why
that's, I already see it.
and that's like the last link on our homepage.
So that link is already on there. People can go and look.
Yes.
There you go. And then when does the actual CAI card, is it CIA?
Yes.
When does
those
that
cards will
update?
be updated tomorrow.
Tomorrow. And is that, again, is that just a push of the button once we have all our data?
It should be. I know it's a 2-hour process.
Oh,
I'm
is
going to
it?
be doing it in conjunction with someone from Catalyst.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure what it involves, but
Mhm.
some point of it. Part of it is
Now, how does that affect if someone wanted to have an abatement and they have until February 1st? And then all of a sudden they look on and they go, hey, they didn't get a chance to look at last year. Now it's this year. They see a change. They want to make an abatement. Does that affect the February 1st deadline
does that affect? So
for an abatement? Do they get, I mean, in other words,
no,
this,
that's-
data-
there's still
this data is not available to.
No, well, okay, this is just a summary, but if somebody wants to look at their individual property to see the data card on it, is that online?
That's what he's saying.
the property record card itself. I can double check to see if that's updated, but I believe that is a process that will be done tomorrow. Right now, if anyone wants an abatement, there are a couple that have started that conversation with me.
Sure.
They've requested it. I've emailed them any cards that they want to have for comparable properties. I've sent those.
Okay. To Fred's point, basically, when people see their taxes each year, they recognize if there's an increase or a decrease. To Fred's point, if that data is not updated immediately, does that affect the abatement process? I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I think if I was a taxpayer and I didn't see my new, I got the tax bill already, and they was mailed in December like they're supposed to, and the requirement was 30 days for an abatement. If I want to go and see the increase in my property taxes, what I had last year, well, you could tell people, well, go to your tax file.
Yeah,
and see.
yeah, right. Take a
But,
look.
if I want to see it online, or if I want to see what my neighbor is, it's not there. So we've gone 3 weeks and there's no ability for a taxpayer to see what their increase was for from last year to this year, other than looking at their individual tax bills.
Well, I don't, how'd you do in the past?
I think the abatement process is 30 days if the bills were mailed out before December 31st. If they're mailed after that, there's some exception to 30 days after that. Tax bills come out later. Okay. My concern, yeah, tax bills went out, but people didn't access their data for 3 weeks on here. Can this board decide that we want to give people 30 days from
30 more days.
January 21st, whenever these data was online for them to look at? And we give them 30 days past January, what's today, 21st?
Is that in our purview to
I
decide?
don't know. That's something I guess I'm asking Stephen to find out, or our tax collector would know.
Well,
What is the,
well, how did we do in the
But,
past?
But
How did we
I
do in the
mean,
past?
your point is it's supposed to be 30 days from when people have all the information they
Right.
need to
Right.
decide whether or not they're asking for an abatement.
right? And I would assume 30 days came the day they got their tax bill. You could go online, that information should have been there online for anybody in town to see. It's not there as of today even. So how can people really apply for an abatement when they don't know?
So in principle, if it's up to us, we agree that people should have the amount of time they need.
Yes, right.
But,
You know,
but
that they
there's
should,
two
they
different
should
dates
have
there.
30 days. I mean, I don't
Sure.
know whether what the law says in terms of
That's
the
what I wanna know.
timelines.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a law saying that it has to be by February 1st, like
Yes.
it's on the thing, or it's 30 days.
Let's,
No.
we should
I
find
think-
that out.
I think what we can say is we understand that the abatement period is supposed to be 30 days from that people are supposed to have 30 days from when they get the information they need.
Right.
And anybody who hasn't had that amount of time because of late posting, our position would be not to respond to an abatement request saying your request is late.
Right.
I'm with you, but I still would like to know, there's got to be some sort of verbiage, perhaps a law, perhaps something that says the tax bill is, when you get the tax bill, it starts then, or when the system is updated, it starts then.
Well,
I'm
I'm
with
sure
you.
it's not when people receive it,
I
because
don't know. I'd like to know.
nobody's gonna write a law based on information they can't control. They can only
You know,
control
Yeah, you have the
when they
tax-
send
you
it
know, I
out.
do. I think I have a tax bill here. We'll find out right now.
It says if it mailed, if it's after December 31st, I don't remember what it said.
Yeah, I thought I had it. I'm
I
sorry.
think I have mine handy.
Right.
I might have left it at home because I was trying to be.
I think it's unfair to taxpayers.
Oh, I agree with you, Fred. I completely agree with you. I just want to make sure that we're not making a.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I think what the law does is it allows us to say to someone, your request is late. And,
That's
and,
true.
and that what Fred's point is, we shouldn't do that if people have a reason they're late. And I'm fine with that.
I'm 100% with you. I still would like to know what is. I don't want to say law. What is the practice before we put something into practice? What is the old practice or the acceptable way of have it done? And if it needs to be changed, let's address it at that time. Let's not make a decision tonight.
Yeah, well, okay, I guess I'm asking Stephen to find out if
Okay.
there's a regulation.
Very
Okay,
good.
Maybe our tax collector would know also, because she's the one that sends out the tax
Yes,
bills.
that's a good start. Let's do that before we get into another lengthy discussion about what may or may not be necessary.
Because
Right.
however we decide on that, I think we need to somehow let the public know you have 30 days from January 3rd, January 20th, say, to
Understood.
file an abatement. Put it online or somewhere else that you have 30 days.
Okay.
Well, as I've said before,
I'm not disagreeing with anybody.
we shouldn't be limiting our period, our notification systems to online. Being myself somebody who doesn't want to go online for everything.
Sure. I think we're all on the same page.
I do too.
Let's let Stephen look
Okay.
into that for a second.
Okay, moving on, personal property submissions. We had talked briefly last meeting, and there was some properties that were not assessed. Personal property was not assessed on the final sheet that we used to calculate tax
Yes.
values, I guess.
Yes.
And I asked, I guess, Stephen to see where the issue was, because some were assessed and gets credits and no new amounts due. Did you do anything with that?
I did. I'm still waiting for an answer, and that's on me. I forgot to hit send. I started the inquiry, and need some additional information. So that's still working.
From who are you asking for?
Our personal property specialists.
Wait, but who are you asking in town? What do you mean? We don't have a.
Oh, who am I asking?
Well, what I remember, the issue was the request for personal property was submitted by an individual in town, and it showed up on a list somewhere that you received a response from that individual, but yet their property values were not on the spreadsheet that listed the dollar amounts for personal property, and they showed zero. So I asked the tax collector, why is it zero on here when they submitted a form saying they have personal property of X of dollar amount? And the tax collector pulled up the records and said they paid twice for 2 quarters this year and got a credit for the rest of the year, so no bill went out. And the tax collector did not know why no bill went out for the final 2 quarters of the year. And it was either an issue with the tax collector or with the town accountant that keeps track of the records, I guess. And that's the issue that we have. It's something internal here that needs to be resolved. And that person that is not being assessed or did not receive a tax bill for personal property needs to get one. And that problem needs to be corrected.
Yes, it does.
So it's either, you know, I'm not gonna come here into this office and spend a whole day talking to 4 different offices to find out what happened. I guess that should be our RG's responsibility to manage the personal property submissions. That's what it comes to.
Why is it their responsibility?
It was in the contract for them to do personal property,
Oh,
First good
to
answer.
maintain personal property records or whatever it's called.
That's a good
To
answer.
assess and maintain personal property records. I think that was in the contract.
okay, so
So-
really, we are identifying an anomaly for them to figure out.
Yes. Yes. And there
So
was-
do you want Stephen to pick that up and carry
Yes.
it to them?
yes, and report back at our next meeting. If that issue has been resolved.
And are there other, we just happened to catch this one. Are there
Right.
others?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
This kind of was an obvious one to us, but because of the dollar amount.
Right, but
Yeah. Okay.
okay. So Stephen, you've got that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on, farm vehicle excise tax. Okay, the animal tax, farm animal tax, okay, was already approved, I guess, by select board that
It
we're not
was.
doing that.
I was there. Yeah, it was
Now-
approved.
Now we
Good.
have the vehicle excise tax, and at our last meeting, I think we directed Stephen to send out the forms for to the farmers that filed filed the data in prior years to get a current value. And we were gonna do that with a 2-week turnaround, so we'd have time to send out tax bills
I believe they were done.
for that. Has that been done?
That's
Yeah, I thought that. I spoke with Jessica today.
Okay.
Yep.
And everybody respond yet, or is it too early to?
too early to determine.
And there's 2 or 3 newer property owners in there. Are they contacted as well?
No, I only sent notice to those that were on that list.
Right, but I indicated 2 or 3 that were new that could be in surrounding towns. We have to verify whether they had equipment here or there.
Okay, I did not get those.
The last sheet I gave you on that was, I can tell you they're all on River Road. Well, the property is River Road, 1 is in South Deerfield, 2 in South Deerfield, and 1 is in Hatfield. So I don't, well, I guess I'd like to know whether they've been identified, did requests for information go to them property owners?
No. Do you have their contact or is there the
Well, they're
business name that?
Yeah, they're listed as the new owners here on this latest listing of
If they're on
vehicles.
that,
That's not all that new, is it? Though?
Yeah,
Isn't that the list Cynthia put together?
yeah, but no, this was the one, there's the address,
oh,
that's a
okay,
new one.
yeah,
Okay, then there was this one, they're on,
yeah, I sent
Road,
to
okay.
this entire list.
and this one, oh, okay,
Okay.
well. Okay,
So we're good there.
we're good there, okay.
Okay.
And so what was the response, when is the response date?
We had talked about a
2
response
weeks.
date of the 26th. When I sent them out, I did not write any information regarding their response date.
So you had by the 26th of January?
I think that's what was mentioned at the last meeting.
Yeah, that's,
Well, we
That's
said
good.
2 weeks, we had 2 weeks from our last meeting.
Why
which
did I
was-
have 26?
yeah, that's right, Brad.
Yeah, 2 weeks, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we met the 9, okay, 2 weeks, okay.
So we're hoping we'll have it next week.
Isn't there?
Right.
Don't we need this pretty quick for sending out the tax bill?
Well, they
We
have until
needed it
March.
for the beginning of February.
Yes.
Right, okay,
Okay, they have till March 1st, you said?
right, okay.
Okay.
Okay, 6, we talked about property assessment records, okay. Update street listing, that's that other listing in the office to list the listing by property location and by owner. Alphabetical, is that notebook? Has that been updated?
Is that a printed physical
Yes,
copy?
printed, yes,
No, that has not been updated.
okay, that needs to be updated. Well, and see, I thought that's what, David said, that you guys were gonna update, putting information online, not only individual property records, but, well, that necessarily doesn't go online. I think that stays here in our office, so somebody comes in, and you wanna look quick, well, or anybody in the office wants to look and see what they're being assessed, they can open that notebook and see it's right there. It's public information too, I guess, rather than pulling it up on the Patriot software card. I mean, it just gives the name, address, and I think, what is it, the assessed value, and maybe, I don't know if it has building value or acreage, size of lot, but you have to look what was in there.
Okay.
And I guess that's, so it's called updated street listing. Okay, that was number 7. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay. Discuss the Hero
You
Act.
did that,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Any other new or old business?
I've got a couple of things. What was our position on pools? Are we no longer assessing pools?
Well, we have using it as additional fixture or something on the property card.
So we're still assessing them in this. If they're under 5,000, of course, no.
Well, no, I don't think that makes a difference.
So we're still assessing them. I was asked.
Right.
I was asked.
Yeah, whether it's in ground or especially in ground, I'm not sure above ground, I don't know.
Okay, so I thought above ground we weren't going to bother with, but in ground we're still assessing.
Yes,
Okay, very good. If someone finishes off their basement, is that a taxable event?
well, it should be,
Um,
and it's gonna,
It changes the code of it.
so
yeah,
if-
the code, for square footage, you look on the front page,
So-
it lists the square footage for each level in the house.
so the answer is yes.
Yes,
Okay, very good.
Well, but it's not a cut and dry yet because it's already included. It's just what code it's included as.
right,
Well, I did speak with the FRCOG, FERCOG,
yeah,
and they will give you a list of renovations and what you'll charge for renovations depending on what you do. I thought that was interesting. I'd like to look deeper into that, but not right now.
for the building permit,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Okay. Is there anywhere I can go to get training on the Patriot property card system? I know I spoke with you and I did a little playing with it. Is there somewhere I can go to get more training?
Well, we have,
There's got to be some training material somewhere.
Why do you want, what are you looking for?
I'm just looking to be able to understand the card, understand how we got to the numbers, and just educate myself a little more as an assessor for the town of Whately. So,
Well, I guess the best way to do that is, and I guess we kind of did some of that when we looked at property values, properties this past year, and to sit in front of the computer and somebody like David was there putting in the changes and values
yes.
and what impacts it made.
And I did that with Stephen too. So I'm just looking to be more versed. That's all.
There's things in Patriot that I don't understand myself, and there's different what do you call it, folders or layers of
Mhm.
data in there that used to come up with say depreciation values,
Mhm.
type of area codes, that kind of stuff that is kind of fixed in there from one year to another. Now I understand that now that we can change some of that, but we haven't in the past.
But I think what I'll do is simply, Stephen, there must be some. I tried to go online today. I couldn't find anything. There must be something somewhere. If you know of something, let me
Yeah, so just like you say training manuals in
know. Well,
in reading the property record card.
oh yeah.
Or
This is average. This is very good. This is a ranch. How did how is I'm looking to be more versed in what I'm doing. That's all. So it's really for me. If the others understand it, that's okay with me. There's not, and maybe I'll sit with you again and do more playing with the system. Then I had one other question. Has the board come up with an agreement with regards to when we do inspections? Can we just send one person out and rotate that person versus all three? Have we come up with that agreement yet?
No, we haven't decided
Um,
how we're going to do that.
can we put that on the next agenda?
Well, this future agenda, I'm not sure next one. Let's see. We
Okay.
have time for that. Yeah.
Future agenda. Okay. And then last thing I wanted to ask is that I have called the Board of Assessors in Greenfield, Long Meadow, South Deerfield, East Long Meadow. Greenfield actually has ask an assessor night. Anybody can come in and they can ask questions. And again, I'm not ready as a board member to answer those questions, but I think that would be a great idea. I would like RRG to again put those sales right online. Every other assessor board does do that. And Greenfield has this little verbiage that says this is kind of what we do, so that the taxpayer can say, oh, okay, you're not just being arbitrary. You're just not going, well, this house. I mean, just more information that updates our site, that educates the general taxpaying public. To me, I'd be all in. I'd be all in on an asking assessor night. I'm not ready myself, but I think that's something we might want to entertain.
Possibly. The only thing you're missing on that is the history, why that is going on in Greenfield. There's a reason for that.
What?
Maybe they didn't tell you that.
They did not. They did get a tax reduction though.
Okay. Greenfield has had some issues with their tax collector and their board of assessors, and has resulted in various actions taken against them. It's been in the paper, public information, the last 2 or 3 years. So they needed something to tell people what they were doing.
Okay.
Because what they were doing was not
Not
didn't appear to be reasonable.
Okay.
To town officials or city officials in Greenfield. And they were getting numerous requests for information, probably abatements. They probably didn't tell you how many abatements they got before they did that.
They did not. They did not. And actually, I didn't even call them on that. I saw it online.
Yeah, but there has been issues with the way they do property assessments in Greenfield, so that's why.
Okay.
Also, it's a bigger town. I
Well, it
mean,
is a bigger town.
we do have assessor office hours,
Right.
both day and evening. But
Okay. Well, again, I'm being the new guy, and I'm calling around and I'm looking around and I'm calling different assessors from different towns, and I just like some of the things I'm seeing, yes, they're bigger
Yeah,
than, and I didn't know if we should perhaps look into some of those things. My goal, of course, is why we wrote a mission statement. We're not adversaries. My goal has always been as a realtor, and also in this particular position, is to educate both sides so that we can understand. Once they're educated, there seems to be no controversy unless you're dealing with an unreasonable person.
we, yeah, we can think about that, but first, I guess we've got these other questions with RRG that we should
Okay,
solve first.
okay, I'm cool with that.
Before we get into.
I'm good with that.
To that. We just back up a little to your question of training for Patriots software. See, the board in the past hasn't really touched the software, put it that way. We always had the assistant assessor do that, because even now, when David was putting in different values and stuff, he would pull up a property card and see make changes and tell us the differences. I assume some of that was stored somewhere on the computer for, say, fiscal year 26, without going and changing prior year data. See, we didn't want the board to go in there or have access to that Patriot software to say, okay, I want to see if I change my value here, if I change my neighbor, if he asks me, if I put this different value in, what it is. Well, you're playing around with the data. And if you don't save it, or you save it somewhere else, that kind of messes up the whole database.
Well, I wasn't personally doing it. I was
I
working
know,
with Stephen.
and that's why we didn't really get a whole lot of detail or training or whatever on the Patriot software. We assumed the assistant assessor was doing that. That was their responsibility. And we asked questions, whatever we didn't understand, and they had an answer. If not, they found an answer. Otherwise it gets too complicated if each of us can go in and play around with the
Well,
data.
again, I'm with you there.
So,
Again, my goal is to understand this better. Stephen and I sat. I didn't touch the computer. He's allowed to do so.
yeah, right,
And that's really where I was coming from.
right.
Because it's just the more I know, the better I'll be at what I'm trying to do. That's I guess what I'm saying.
And your other comment, go back a little about
Sure.
the finishing basements. A lot of it depends on what we see. Well, first off, we try to figure out a percentage of the floor area that was finished.
Correct.
Because not all basement floor area, the square footage is completely finished. You've got some utilities and storage, whatever there, that you have to exclude a certain percent. So you got that, plus I guess the quality of the
Construction. Yeah.
of the construction there, and was everything finished? Was floors and ceiling finished? Sometimes we do that, or was it living area, or was there heat? More so, was there heat
Bathroom,
and
perhaps.
well, was there heat and air conditioning in the area? So them kind of things. If it's, I think a general rule, if it's completely finished, but there's no heat there or air conditioning, you maybe don't even call it a finished basement, depending on what the rest of it looks like. I mean, because there are people that do that, or there are some that are that way, or it would be a lesser value than if you hired a contractor to finish everything like this room is.
Mhm.
So,
So there's not a black and white question for sure.
it's not easy
Right.
to say.
Yeah. Given that I received from Stephen through RRG it was conditions. Yeah, the conditions. Was that what it was? Yeah.
Yes.
That 65-page report was an eye opener for me. It actually showed you pictures of the construction.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It actually assigned some sort of increased or decreased value. I'll print that out. I thought that.
He's got it online.
I
Get it online or okay.
I have it. I'll send it to you. I got it online.
Okay, send
you guys a copy?
of
Okay, I thought it was that, and of course you're going to try and get me the calculation worksheet on good, bad, ugly.
Yes.
They have that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Once I get this data and I can look through it, and I just feel I'll be better. I mean, I don't like complicating things. I like your idea of making it simple, Jenny. I'm all for
Yeah.
that. But the more we know, the simpler we can explain it. I guess
Oh,
it's
yes, I don't disagree with you at all. I think that really my point is RRG's conception is so knowledgeable that the conversations with them are complicated.
it's that they are. Yes,
And
I would agree.
we have to understand it enough to understand what they're saying,
Yes.
but we also, that's not how you answer people's questions about it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So it's sort of both ends of it.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Very good.
Okay. Any other new or old business?
I have a couple items.
Okay.
So the first one being the Board of Health, or board, a member of the Board of Health, approached me to see about implementing a senior tax work-off program here in Whately.
A what? A what?
Senior tax work off their taxes.
Yes, a senior tax work-off program. And so, I said that I would bring that to the board.
This one from Board of Health?
Yes, from the Board of Health.
That's a Fred question for sure.
Okay.
Probably definitely at a later meeting, but just wanted it to be on your radar.
Is that up to us?
Well, I guess what they're looking for is help in getting this program started. And I think, like my experience of being a part of this in Conway, and having this program initiated, they were seeing if our department could help here
Hmm.
to provide just additional, tax relief to the most.
So they work to pay down their taxes, but
Yes.
they're seniors.
Yes.
Oh, that's very interesting concept.
I'd like to, I mean, I think I'm almost there. Certainly something I would do if, but I can't, we can't make that financial decision, can we?
Well,
We could say we
100%.
support one, but isn't this a select board question?
yes, and I guess if we want to pursue this, I guess before we get into details of what it is and how and who's going to get involved, maybe we should ask the select board, are they interested in this kind of a program first? We don't know the details, but are they interested in it? And then we'll give them more information. If they say, no, we don't
We're
want
done.
that to apply in Whately at all, then we're done.
Right. I mean, I think it, to some degree, it feels like there would need to be a finance board. Yes, it's possible to do up to this dollar amount
Okay.
or up to this percent of somebody's taxes or,
Yeah,
I mean,
so there's a lot of
There's a
information.
lot of
we don't
ifs
know.
there. Yeah.
We don't know,
Yeah.
but before we get into that, we could spend a lot of time figuring that out. And then the select board could say, no, we don't apply.
But
We
it's a
don't want
nice
Right.
idea. I like the idea.
it." Yeah, so.
I'm wondering why they asked us instead of the select board to begin with.
Don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, okay. So take that back to the next select board meeting, I guess.
Do you have one more thing there?
Oh, and then the last one, this morning, the town administrator sent out a memo asking departments to send them any project status updates that they may have. I just wanted your input if there was anything that our department is working on that would like to make this update.
No,
I don't have
What's that?
I can imagine. Yeah.
Okay.
we're, other than, I guess we're updating the software, right? The Patriot software is the only
Yes.
thing we're doing. Now, that hasn't been done, or has that been done yet?
That has not been done. That is scheduled to take place
Tomorrow.
in February.
Oh, February.
Okay, maybe if you want to tell them, something happening, you could mention that we're updating the software.
Awesome.
And that's what RRG would be doing that with
Yes.
consultants, yeah. Okay,
And this, oh, yeah, that is just the bill schedule for that upgrade.
okay.
Can I have that if you don't want it?
This,
Patriot, Town of Whately Patriot thing that our RG sent us. That or I'm on. I'd like to get a copy.
so we make,
Yeah, I'll get a copy. We'll get a copy. Oh, okay.
that, yeah, we can do that. Okay, this is training. Data conversion. So this has already happened.
No, that's the conversion that's gonna happen next month.
Okay, and the training is for who?
Myself.
Huh?
For
For
Stephen.
me,
For you? Okay.
yes,
And did this come out of our budget, or was this just that special funding they did?
correct, it's from the special funding.
Special funding. Okay.
Like I just sent you 4 reports.
Oh, you did? Fantastic.
Okay. I just need to sign this. Right?
Okay, you don't need me. Okay. Okay, good.
Okay.
I believe that's. I believe we got through a lot tonight.
Yeah. So our next meeting is February 4th at 11:30. Okay.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Uh, Agree. A second.
Okay. Those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Meeting adjourned.